I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's alive. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
real-world experience.
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe, it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. My name is Chris Graham. It is a pleasure to have you hanging out with us here tonight as we get ready for the TNT Shock Series. This one's going to be a pretty interesting race here, as we are, as always, joined in the booth by Mr. Kylo Ciacelli. And I'll tell you what, Kylo, the real question here for me, at least thought process-wise, is how do the guys that normally run the ovals adapt to the road course? And are we going to see some of the ringers maybe be towards the top of the field here the closer we get to the end of this thing?
Be seeing the same guys that we normally see up front up there, but I think the main wild card of the night is going to be Nagisa Yoshikawa, that number 98 Team Watson racing machine. Guy's super quick in the SOF, and he builds the setups for Team Watson race setups, so look for him to be super quick tonight up front. But other than that, Andrew Barry, Wes Shire, James Watson, all names we're used to up at the front here on the practice timing sheet so far.
Yeah, you know what? That's the kind of funny one, is that there really is no surprises as of yet that we're seeing out of these drivers, and we'll see what's going to develop here over the next 50 minutes or so. First, we're going to have to get through the qualification session, and well, before we even get there, we got to get ready for practice to conclude here in just a moment. Let's pick up Wes Shire as, well, you know what? He's making his way off of turn one of the oval. Kylo, talk us through a lap here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Oh, well, there we go. Okay. Looks like, nope, practice not quite over yet here, but we'll pick up Andrew Barry as he's making his way around the racetrack here.
Yeah, Wes going for a little bit of a loop there as he was coming down into turn two. Barry now going to be coming down into what is turn number 6, a super tight hairpin into an even tighter right-hander onto the back straightaway. DRS board that does not affect these cars. No DRS on the Indy Pro 2000 spec car. Breaking into what is turn number 8 here, and then a nice little tricky chicane section is, we get some traffic there. He's a little bit wide, and he's in the grass.
This is almost getting comical at this point. Let's see who... well, okay, let's do this. We'll pick up a full lap here as we've got more cars off at the exit. But as Andrew's getting ready to head up onto the oval here, we'll pull up the side-by-side and we'll kind of ride along, and we'll let Kylo talk through. Well, as I say that, Andrew Barry's going to come into the pits.
I think practice is just about over here. They got maybe 10 or 15 seconds left. Maybe we'll try and grab that in qualifying instead. Give everybody a little idea what's going on. But yeah, a super tricky racetrack here. This isn't the current edition of the Indy Road Course. There's no chicane in the short chute between what is Speedway 1 and 2, as there is in real life. And also the first sector is quite a bit different. The turn 6-7 complex is gone, and it's replaced with a very quick chicane onto the back straightaway. So a little bit of a retro theme here. That's all we got in iRacing so far. So we'll go with that, and we'll wait for some cars to get on track here for qualifications.
Yeah, we'll take a look here. Looks like one of the first guys out onto the racetrack will be Nagisa Yoshikawa. One of the things I found about driving this place over the course of doing some testing laps today was this place is about board flat, and there are almost no braking markers to be found. It actually takes a driver who really understands the intricacies of this layout to go even moderately quick here.
And as we watch Nagisa on his outlap here, all over the place, the tire temp is another critical thing here. Making sure you have temperature in the tires so you can turn, but not overheating those rears on corner exit and losing the rear end when you're going down one of these big straightaways can cost you a lot of time.
Take a look here at the weather conditions presented by our friends at the Weather Center. This is basically a sunrise race. 64-degree ambient temperature, track temp only at 65. It is definitely a little bit chilly, but the action is going to be pretty darn hot. Let's go on board here, and now that Nagisa is ready for the hot lap here, talk us around this place, Kylo.
Yep, so here we go down the front straightaway of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway backwards into turn number 1, braking just at that 2 marker board. Careful on the curb on the right, careful on the curb on the left, easy on the throttle, very easy to lose the rear end there. Turn 3, turn 4 now, super hard. Judge the braking point, turn in, and back on the throttle, super quick for the wide exit. Turn number 5 is flat out, down to the tricky braking zone of turn 6. No brake markers, as you mentioned, Chris, so it's all in feeling in this, and this first lap certainly is going to be looking very quick. Tight right-hander here, turn number 7, onto the back straightaway he goes, just keeping it within the lines. You can get pretty lenient on the track limits there on the exit of the corner. Just after the concrete barrier on the right-hand side, down into second gear for turn number 8. Turn 9, a fast corner, setting yourself up for turn number 10, and then the final real corner of the track. You can cut it super nice, and watch the grass. Oh, Nagisa is going to lose his lap time on the grass there, but super wide, but still a quick lap, though overall he's going to have to go again here. Back onto the banking of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, flat out until you're down into turn number 1.
This place is it's fast and slow at the same time. It's a story of opposites, it feels like, in so many instances. Vic Aldrich getting a lap on the board. He's going to be your quick timer thus far, 1 minute 24.17. Little bit lighter of an entry list than we would have expected. One of those who is not on the entry list, but not for a real good reason, is Jason Owens. We'll say there was some home plumbing issues, so to speak. Basically, they had a little bit of a flood, and the sim rig is all but garbage. So hopefully we'll see Jason back here in time for the finale coming up at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the artist formerly known as Gateway, here in just a couple of weeks. Stephen Thompson moving to the top of the speed charts, 123.09. New quick time, Wes Shire, 122.48. Andrew Berry going to move up to second on the boards here. This really is also the battle for the championship. Following race number 9 of 11 at Martinsville Speedway, it's a 26-point lead for Andrew Berry. James Watson only 50 back, so it really is still sort of a 3-horse race here, at least a little bit anyway. The reality of things, though, here is that this really is a championship to be decided between Wes Shire and Andrew Berry, as we saw Nagisa Yoshikawa go to the top of the charts.
Yeah, Nagisa going quick there, a 122.2. He did a 121.9 in practice, so a little bit off of his practice time, but tire temperature so crucial around this track, and very hard to get, especially when you go off at the end of the first lap like that, getting the grass on the tires. So best he could do over one lap. We'll see what the rest of these guys can do. Stephen Thompson's going to jump up to third quick, a 122.7, pushes Andrew Berry down. Wes Shire coming across the line, position 2 in the championship. Where is he going to put himself on the board? It's pole position for Wes Shire, a 122.09. We wait now for the rest of the field to come across the line. Andrew Berry goes third quick, 122.4.
Just a handful of cars left to set laps here. Nick Camargo, Peter Donchak. Let's see. Looks like we'll pick up James Watson here as he makes his way around the racetrack. The always colorful Team Watson racing colors there on the 39 machine of James Watson. Lap number 1 did not score. We'll see what lap number 2 is going to do.
Yeah, not impossible to pass around this place. Maybe a little bit annoying. The second and third sectors of this track, you really don't want to be stuck behind somebody, but you can get a nice run out of what here the complex James is going through now. Turn 11 onto the speedway into what is known as turn 12 and 13. You can get a nice run, and depending on setup, you should almost be flat by the end by yourself anyway. So in a tow, you're just going to get there quicker, and then it's about who's got that VMAX, who can go quickest down this long front straightaway. Watson's right up on the wall, and his time only going to be good for 6th quickest for James Watson, 123.655. So he slots into the field there, and I think that is everybody run.
Yes, actually, one car left who may be able to get a lap in. We'll see. He's going to have about a minute left, so I don't think he'll get the lap in. But this is Patrick Byrne driving a Homestead Coffee Get Well Soon Wes paint scheme. Wes Shire is not ill by any stretch of the imagination.
Clearly not. He put it on pole, so he's on 100% looking so far tonight.
Going on board here with Patrick Byrne.
Oh man, hold on to it, buddy.
Yeah, I was going to say, he is all over the place. I'm fairly certain he is racing without any kind of force feedback on the wheel tonight. That really becomes difficult at a place like this because you really rely on that to feel the back end of the car start to break away. It becomes very difficult to know when you're too heavy on the throttle.
Yeah, that is very critical, especially around the flat IMS road course. And the feel of the car is everything. Knowing how well you're turning in, how well you're turning out, how too well you're turning out to sometimes when the rear end comes around. So he's going to try and get a lap in here. He's got 1 minute and 20 seconds. So he's going to be really tight on time here getting across the line. We'll see what he can do going down into turn number 1. Yeah, you can just see the way the wheel is moving. He's just really whipping the wheel from left to right, and that has to be because of the force feedback loss, just not knowing how much he is actually turning the car.
It takes something. Sim racing is a little bit, it is a different skill set from real world driving because you don't have all of the tactile feedback things. There is no seat of the pants feel, or at least very little. Even if you're in, the $100,000 sim rigs and stuff, it's almost impossible to replicate the true seat of your pants feeling that you have driving a car. When you lose the little bits that you do have, things like force feedback, even at times the visual cues, if you're on a different monitor, or even the sound in your ears is different, can really screw you up with how the car feels underneath you. It's almost like you have no feeling.
Yeah, that sim racing world and loss of G, or lack of G, just makes it a little bit tougher to really push the limits, or maybe sometimes gives you a little bit more courage to push farther than you actually should be doing. As Patrick did not get that lap in on the board, he ran out of time, and he's going to be lining up in 15th position. And we go to the grid as we wait for the start here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Take a look here. Going to be Wes Shire and Nagisa Yoshikawa on row number 1. That will be a fantastic drag race to turn 1. Andrew Berry and Stephen Thompson on row number 2. Vic Aldrich, Peter Donchak on row number 3. Row 4 will have James Watson and Simon Fell. Alex Teeter and Nick Camargo on row number 5. Row 6 will have Dave Sparks and Jason Padu. Row 7, Rick Cleary and Andrew Acera. And all alone back there on row number 8 is the Bizzler lining up in the 15th position. So 15 cars scheduled for tonight's race, 50 minutes in length. This is a timed race, as always, for the TNT Shock Series. And that really plays into some of the pitch strategy games that we're going to see here, Kylo, because you almost have to kind of manage fuel. There's a lot of thought process that goes into how you drive this place. It's not like running the oval where fuel saving is hard enough to begin with. You can really make a lot of fuel running your way around here.
Yeah, you're on the throttle for a very long percentage of the lap here. We don't have the F1 statistics to tell you the exact number, but it is quite a lot. That front straightaway and down the back straightaway are most of the lap here. So really on the gas pedal, and only 50% tank in these PM18s means they probably can only go about half an hour at the most if they're critical on fuel saving. So definitely a one-stopper here, but I don't think we'll be in range for two-stopper, but I could be wrong. Could be misjudging the size of the fuel tanks and how much these guys are using.
And drama already at the head of the field. Nagisa Yoshikawa did not make the grid. Dave Sparks will be starting from pit lane, but Nagisa Yoshikawa, we don't even see him on the pit lane right now. Taking a look through.
I think we were looking in driver chat. Nagisa said he left his qualifying set on. So that is something you definitely do not want to do. Running different aero, different tire packages there. So he's going to be starting for pit lane as well.
That's not fun. Not fun whatsoever. In fact, I don't think we'll even see Nagisa in the race tonight, because once you grid, I think it locks the setup.
I'm not sure
I don't remember
on that. We'll see if he loads in here. The very long pace lap. We do have to do a full pace lap here. Thank goodness we are not running normal cautions like we do or else we would be here for a very long time. But we'll see as they go here. We see Dave Sparks is in the pit lane, but no Nagisa yet. So we'll see when he pops up. They come onto the banking here. The pace car takes them all the way through Speedway 1, what is turned 13, and then cuts immediately down at the start of the inside wall. So they will go all the way around here and get ready to go down to turn number 1.
50 minutes of racing action coming up here from the world's greatest race course. Take a look and see who your favorite is. Green flags in the air. We are underway. West Shire going to get a great jump over Stephen Thompson. Thompson's going to have to contend with Andrew Berry. Shire back out towards the outside safer barrier. The side-by-side duel, not much of one into turn 1.
West Shire's going to take the lead as they head to the infield for the first time. That tricky turn number 4. Watch the curb on the exit, especially on these cold tires, as Peter Donchak is finding out back in the pack, fighting for the 5th position with Vic Aldrich. As up front, West Shire takes the early lead. Andrew Berry in P2, and a spin for Watson. Watson's got around. Stephen Thompson had a little moment in front, and Watson went all the way around. He's going to drop down to the back of the pack here. Not lose too many positions, though, but definitely more than he would have wanted to.
Looks like Nagisa Yoshikawa is out on the racetrack right now.
Yep, that is him right behind Watson right now, so he is out and flying. Don't know how he's already got past. There must have been an incident at the back of the pack in turn 1 that really slowed them down, because Nagisa's already cutting through. Watson's all over the place, coming down and back onto the speedway. Meanwhile, already at the start of the pit lane, West Shire going to lead lap number 1 here. Andrew Berry in tow, almost a second behind him now. 3/4 of a second behind as they cross the line for the first time.
Thompson and Aldrich going to go side by side down towards turn 1. Simon Fell will be right back up behind them as well.
Well, we've got a moment up front. West Shire went a little bit wide at turn 2, and Andrew Berry's right on his back bumper now as they head through the infield, through the flat turn number 5, into, again, that tricky braking zone of turn 6. And then the super tight right-hander of turn 7. Wait, and then get on the power so you don't understeer wide. If you go anywhere near that DRS board, it is a slowdown, an iRacing slowdown penalty of at least 1 second. So you don't want to be getting those, because these two up front are breaking away from the rest of the field. Almost a 3.5 second gap to Peter Donchak in position 3. Down the speedway they go. Andrew Berry seems content with staying behind West Shire for right now.
One of the things that I was hearing Wes mention during the pre-race was you're basically topped out on the gearbox. Potentially by the yard of bricks, not much past the yard of bricks.
Yeah, that sounds about right. In our strength of field race a couple of weeks ago, that was definitely the case. You were all by yourself and you were on the limiter, running at about 265, 267 kilometers an hour. Whatever you Americans use, you can calculate it yourself. That's all it would do, really, and that's all these cars can do. So again, once the VMAX is hit, that's where you're going to be, and you just want to be there quicker, and you want to try and have a little bit higher top speed, but the setups these guys are using are probably going to be pretty similar, and not much more they can gain out of this system. Just tracking back in the pack here, Nagisa Yoshikawa's progress. currently in position 10. He's going to be looking on the inside of Nick DeMargo here as they come through Speedway 1 and turn 13, sorry, excuse me. He is going to get that run and pull out to the right. And +1 for Nagisa, so his charge back to the front begins here in position 9. They've completed 4 laps of the speedway so far in the 5 minutes we have completed here.
And the biggest problem for Nagisa at this point is currently being scored 10 and change seconds behind your race leaders. Oh, as Alex Teeter has an issue and goes around.
Yeah,
he's off the racetrack. That's a
again.
freebie.
Really hard to judge how much speed you can carry into that corner. You have no indication, no brake markers, no real relative position markers. You're out in the middle of the road there. It's a tough one for sure. Alex got it wrong there, so Nagisa gets one more. He's going to be up into position 8 now.
And he is gaining on the race leaders, sitting, well, lost a little bit of time there, but sitting right about 10.3 seconds or so to your race leaders. They're going to pull away a little bit with the drafting that they're able to do down the front stretch. But Yoshikawa will definitely be a storyline to follow here throughout this race.
Man, keeps doing that. A new quick time of the race, 1:22.39 for Yoshikawa last lap. Meanwhile, the leaders up front doing 1:23.00 and 08 for Andrew Barry. So Nagisa's coming, and he's got lots of time to make that back up. He's just got to get through the traffic. Of these 3 in front of him, Peter Donchak, Simon Fell, Vic Aldrich in very close contention for 4th position. If Stephen Thompson has gotten back around from his moment on turn 1 or in lap 1. So let's see what these guys can do and how quickly Nagisa can navigate the traffic.
West Shire able to open the lead back up here. It's about a half second now on Andrew Barry. That's what we have on the right-hand side of the screen for you. The left-hand side following the battle between Donchak, Fell, and Aldrich. Man, Nagisa's really catching them in quick as well. He goes fastest lap of the race once again, 1:22.33. He's putting some heaters out there.
Yeah, he started up on the front row, and he's showing that pace here. So he's caught the back of Vic Aldrich. So we'll see what he can do in the traffic here and how safe he plays it. Nagisa's a pretty cool guy. I think he's going to take it pretty safe and wait until he's got a sure thing to get through here. No rush with lots of time still to go in this race.
And the other potential here is there are at least some of these strategy questions that could be coming into play. I don't think there's going to be anything that Nagisa can really go outside the box in terms of strategy, especially having to run as many quick laps as he's doing right now. Gonna be tough to catch the leaders. Stephen Thompson may not be out of the realm of possibility, though. That gap is only about 4 seconds separating those two.
Yeah, he already got through Vic Aldrich into turn 6, and he's gonna have a nice tow here that he backs out of a little bit to get a better run at Simon Fell and Peter Donchak here. What the overspeed is like and what that top speed can get to for these guys. And there you go. There's that VMAX achieved. 265 dead on for Yoshikawa behind 2 cars, and he could not gain any more time than what Simon Fell was doing. He's going to look to the inside, though, here into turn 4. Back onto the gas, and he's going to clear Simon Fell. Got one more to go now. Peter Donchak through the tricky and fast turn 5, down to the left of turn 6. He's going to hold it around the outside. Donchak's going to have the line into 7, but Nagisa's going to send it up the inside. down to turn 7. He's going to pass all of them within a lap and a half. Traffic is no issue for him. He's on the move. He's heading for the lead.
I'll tell you what, this has been a very impressive drive thus far.
Back up to the front, Andrew Berry is the closest I think we've seen him to West Shire in the lead as they come through Speedway 1 and onto the front straightaway. We'll see if he pulls out this time. And it looks like he's content to just stay there for right now. Forcing West to go defensive, but definitely backed out of the move there into turn 1. Long race to go still. Only 10 minutes completed. But these guys got to get on the move. Yoshikawa is coming, and he's only 10 seconds behind them. He can make up that time.
The time can be made up, at least like we were mentioning here to Stephen Thompson. That's a possibility. Last lap time for Nagisa Yoshikawa, 1:23.81. Both of the leaders in the 1:22.8 bracket. So the gap is sitting right about 9.9 seconds at this point. That's probably a pretty big ask of Nagisa. However, we do have this pretty darn spectacular battle here. Simon Feld, Peter Donchak, and Vic Aldrich still going on. What is perhaps most interesting to me at this point, though, West Shire is able to open up a 10-plus car length advantage over Andrew Berry. And it seems like whenever Andrew wants to, he just sucks right back in, and it's game on again. Oh, man, Berry may have flipped the inside wall down the front straightaway.
I think it was a cheeky little weave from him there, just coming on to the front stretch. Yeah, it's difficult to follow really close throughout this racetrack because of the lack of banking or cambering or anything on any of these corners. The aerodynamics is critical here, and having clean air is nice for sure. Nagisa back up to speed, getting through the traffic of those 2 or 3 cars, 4th or 5th place, 1:22.196 on the lap time last lap. Nagisa's coming here is about half a second quicker than positions 1 and 2.
Man, Nagisa is really hustling that race car at this point. The gaps at the middle of the field have settled down. There's really not much to show you here outside the battle for the race lead. But Yoshikawa again going fast lap, 1:22.20.
Yeah, it looks like Peter Donchak might have had an issue because he dropped positions for both Simon Fell and Vic Aldrich on that last lap. A 1:24.1, so not a good lap for Donchak, and he's going to drop a couple positions, but nice gap forming behind him to Nico Margo, about 5 seconds so far.
Picking up Vic Aldrich and Peter Donchak here on the left-hand side of your screen. Actually, we're going to flip them because the battle for the race lead looks pretty good here as well. Nose to tail, call it a car length as they head down Holman Boulevard.
Yeah, West going defensive there, throwing Andrew off on the corner entry a little bit. Went a little wide, lost some time, but easily going to make that back up on the front stretch. Yeah, I don't know at this point if Andrew's just content to stay in the draft and go a lap or 2 longer than West, because he will be saving some fuel with all that let off in the draft that he can do here. Very easy to hold 75 or 80% throttle and still maintain distance with the car in front.
And especially if this is going to be a one-stop race, which is what it looks like right now. If it's a one-stopper, then that means that Berry will just be taking less fuel than West Shire will. Might only be a couple of tenths, but when you're separated by 2 or 3 tenths on the racetrack, that could be all you need to get yourself up to the front.
We got a spinner. Simon Fell has spun in turn 1. We just saw it there on the right-hand side of our picture-in-picture. Donchak and Vic Aldrich going around him. Simon Fell having an issue there into turn number 1. But he's going to be losing a ton of time as we bring up the replay here. He had opened up quite a nice gap to the two of them behind him, literally leaving him for dead. And yeah, just too much on the entry. And he's going to go around. Thankfully, didn't hit anything, didn't hit anybody. And back over the curb, and he is going to lose another spot to Nia Camargo. So Simon has some work to do, but clearly he has some speed in that 256 car. We'll see what he can do trying to make his way back through the pack.
We'll pick up Simon and Jason Paydu on the right-hand side of your screen. The battle for the race lead still on the left. 34 minutes, 40 seconds to go as they come down past the start-finish line. Oh, big lockup for Andrew Berry. He's going to lose a bunch of time there. The gap up to 1.2 seconds.
This could be the opening that Wes needs. He can get a sizable gap going here on Andrew and not allow him to get into that toe. Could ruin Andrew's strategy plans if that's what was going on here. See how close he can get it. We pick up Simon Fell into turn number 1. Makes it through just fine this time. I don't think they'll be making that same mistake again.
I'll tell you what, the draft is absolutely huge in these cars. As Andrew Berry closes it back up again inside of 1 second. Oh, hold on to it. Back end steps a little bit loose. Right back up over 1.2 seconds. We say it time and again, you can't compound mistakes. That's really where the race gets away from you. Not the first mistake, it's the second, third, and fourth one that come after the initial.
Yeah, and just trying to push to make sure he was back in that drafting position. Might have cost him this front stretch time here. But it does look like he's just inside of the range there. 1.3, 1.2 seconds, and that's all you need. And you get a sizable speed advantage thanks to the car in front. So we'll keep an eye on this gap here for position 1. Meanwhile, position 3, Nagisa Yoshikawa only down to 2 seconds behind Steven Thompson. Steven running comfortably in third so far the race. We had a little bit of an incident in turn 6 on lap number 1. Lost some time there, but picked up the positions again and is running cleanly in a podium space. He's going to have some competition here soon, though.
Wes Shire starting to catch up to the back of the pack. Next car on the list will be the 5 of Andrew Acera. Andrew Berry is right at the edge of that 1.3, 1.4 second range. As Andrew Acera going to make his way onto the pit lane. Clears out of the way for the race leaders.
And you can just see them lurking in the background. Steven Thompson, Nagisa Yoshikawa. The gaps have come down to the leaders, by the way. Steven's only 4.5 seconds behind. Nagisa only 6 seconds behind the race leaders. So he's made up almost 4 seconds in 10 minutes here. He's on pace to be right on them here come the pit stop time.
Yeah, I didn't think you could catch up that quickly, but Nagisa Yoshikawa is absolutely flying through the field at this point. And this place really boils down to execution on the pit stop. That is going to be, quite frankly, critical to the success of all 4 of these drivers tonight. It's not as ugly of a pit road entry as the current road course layout at Indianapolis is, but it's not real pleasant either. You make the entry basically in the middle of the short chute, you have to run the access lane all the way in. You can, in theory, do that flat, potentially, but there's time to be made and lost on both the in-lap and the out-lap, because the way out of the pits is just as tricky here.
Yeah, the in is pretty difficult just because you're on a curve right when you want to slam on the brakes and get down to the pit speed limiter. So it's all about confidence and how quickly you think you can slow the car down around that, not tight radius corner, but there is a radius there, and you do need to turn the wheel to get into the pit lane. Pit exit, even just as tricky, throws you right onto the apex of turn 1. And if you've got traffic coming behind you, or you're racing a guy coming out of the pits, there could be some spicy things happening into turn 1 on the apex where two cars meet.
Like James Watson has had a pretty significant issue here. He is now out of this race. Didn't see what happened to James, but he is being scored out. Alex Teeter 1 lap down. That's who is just ahead of race leader Wes Shire right now. And Andrew Berry is right there and closed up.
Yeah, the traffic has not helped Wes at all here. Got held up in the critical speed part of the track. As are they going to be boxing? Wes Shire's going to be coming into the pits here. Only 20 minutes on the clock, and Wes Shire, our leader, is coming down the pits. So is this the end of the race? And oh, does he get slowed down? Hits the bump on the access road and goes high and flying there. We'll see if he made it down to the pit speed limit. As Stephen Thompson has now come in behind him as well. So some of the leaders are starting to come down pit road. We might be seeing a two-stopper if 20 minutes is all they can do.
Yes, and Jason Owens is lighting up the comments here on us, talking about all these awesome shock drivers. Yeah, Jason, make sure you got the humidifiers tuned up there, bud. Or dehumidifiers, I guess it is. Shire down and away, cleanly out of the pits. It will be a 5.72 second stop for Wes Shire. Nick Camargo, Simon Fell, Jason Padu, Dave Sparks, and Patrick Byrne all on the pit lane as well. Question becomes, how many more laps can Andrew Berry go here? Because you've really only got to get, what, 3 more laps? Basically 2 laps, additional laps from here. And now all of a sudden it becomes a one-stop race.
It doesn't look like it's going to matter. It looks like our new race leader, Berry, is going to be coming in this time by. So he hits the same bump that West hit. Whoa, he almost goes into the wall.
Wow.
Nice save there.
This
from
is
Andrew
another
Berry.
one.
That could have been a disaster for him.
And it could be anyway. He was hard on the brakes a second time, trying to get that car woed up down to the pit road speed limit. Nagisa Yoshikawa also on pit lane. We'll see if Andrew Berry has a pit road speeding penalty. He hits the marks. Car is up on the jacks. It'll be 4 fresh Cooper tires going on the side of that one. Packet full of fuel, and he got it woed up, down and away, 6.42 seconds. About a half second slower than Wes Shire. Oh, they're right together again.
Into turn 2, Shire's going to have the inside line and push Berry out, but Berry comes back on the inside. Through turn 3, into turn 4 they go. Wes is going to have the warmer tires around the outside, and it looks like he's going to be able to hold the lead, just clearing Andrew Berry as they go through turn 5. Lap car gets out of the way into 6, and they're going to have the time of their lives as they come down the back stretch here. Wes, just having that 1 lap fresher tires, able to hold the outside there. Not an easy thing to do on equal footing, so using that outlap to his advantage, getting the lead back.
Stephen Thompson, a 7.28 second stop. Cost him a ton of time on the racetrack. Nagisa Yoshikawa now up to position number 3. The gap sits at 4.6, 4.7 seconds to the race leaders.
Yeah, these guys got to go. He can make that up. We've seen him do it in the 10 to 15 minutes once he cleared the traffic. Made up over 4 seconds worth of time, and he's made up almost a second and a bit here through the pit cycle. And as these two were fighting, here comes Berry again, tucked up right up on the inside of Wes Shire over the yard of bricks.
Still not to the halfway point. We're going to get to see these guys do this again. The question becomes, if you're West Shire, do you want to let Andrew Berry lead a little bit? You want to try to buy yourself that one extra lap of fuel.
And we'll see how far these guys can make it. We'll probably be getting to about lap 33, 34 before we see them again. So we'll see how these guys behave until then, because if we have another pit stop, which we have definitely do now with the timing we just got here, we'll see what they do. If they play nice and try and keep the space, or if Andrew Berry tries to go for the lead a little bit, see if he can run away from Wes.
By my math, they were about 3 minutes shy of halfway, which would put them about 6 minutes shy of the full race distance. So we could see the pit window open up here as soon as about 20 minutes or so left to go for the final pit stop. Could be an opportunity for someone like Nagisa Yoshikawa to come in, take the quick splash of fuel, and try to get out there again ahead of the race leaders.
Looks like Simon Fell might have had another spin in the back of the pack. He's dropped 2 or 3 positions, now running behind Dave Sparks as he comes back onto the speedway. But yeah, the pit strategy here is a little bit interesting, because Nagisa could do something a little bit tricky and maybe pit with 10 to 12 minutes to go and get a couple of laps on his tires and really get tires warmed up before you head down pit lane again and cool them back down. Have some really quick out laps and make up some time that way. But we'll see. He's catching them each time. Meanwhile, we'll see what Andrew Berry's going to do here. We're side by side down to turn 8.
This battle has been absolutely epic between West Shire and Andrew Berry. Let's go on board here with Berry. He's to the inside of Shire.
Here we go, down the front stretch, into the short chute rather, into Speedway 1, side by side for the race lead. We'll see who's got that top speed advantage, if any. It looks like they're dead even. They're dead even. They can't go faster than each other. Man, that must be frustrating for Andrew. He's trying to do everything here, but he's got to make the move happen in the twisty section of the track. He is not able to do it really on the quick parts.
What was really interesting there was West drove it significantly deeper into turn 1, carried a much wider entry line.
I think just confidence being closer to the racing line. Andrew way down on the right-hand side of the track on what would be the dirty side in real life, but just missing braking markers and not being exactly where you think you are. Probably being a little bit more cautious there. But, man, West needs this win to win the championship or have a chance of it, even with Andrew right behind him here. But he's putting on a good championship battle. The lap car is just going to get out of the way there. And they're back onto the speedway again. And we'll see. Does Andrew just sit here? And we'll take a look over our shoulders.
Cue the Jaws theme. Nagisa Yoshikawa is 2.6 seconds back of your race leaders. He's already made up almost 2.5 seconds on the leaders as Berry's going to swing wide towards turn 1.
Oh no, guys, this isn't good. The more you fight, the closer he gets. Very good drive from Nagisa, though, starting from the pit lane and making up about 15 seconds on the track here over the half an hour that we've been running. Very good job from him, and getting that Team Watson Racing machine back up to the front. He's right there, just as the camera cuts away. Every time he's there. They're close. They're close up front, but they're not getting it done. Nagisa's coming.
Is that something that goes through your head as a driver? If you're especially in Andrew's position, knowing that the more you try to battle with Wes for the lead, the closer you're going to let Nagisa catch up to you?
I don't know. Man, Andrew's definitely trying something different on the front stretch here every time. Or at least it looks like he's going to be trying to do something different. He caught up to Wes too quickly there, it looks like, and lost his run. Now he has to make up the time again, but Wes is already on the limiter, so there's nothing else for him to gain. Oh, side by side again. Wes goes defensive. There's Nagisa. He's closed it down. It's under 2 seconds now.
He's inside a draft range. It's 1 1/4 right now.
Yeah, he's going to be inside the draft range when they come onto the backstretch here. So enter player number 3 into this battle up front.
Jason Owens' OCD is kicking in. We'll switch camera views for you there, bud. Can someone tell Andrew to pull a tear off? That's not how that works, by the way. Our camera view from the cockpit, we just get the dirty visor. So even if he's spamming the tear off button like Jason Owens does, this guy would spend $500,000 a race weekend in tear offs if he was doing this for real.
Back out onto the short chute they go through the infield. Nagisa's closed that gap down even a little bit more now. It's almost even a second now. He's almost down to under a second behind the race leader. So he's going to be getting a nice draft from the two of them in front. We'll see if Byrne moves to the left, and we'll see if Wes stays to that extreme right-hand side. He is every time. He doesn't need to stay that right. And he is, and I think it's compromising both of them because Andrew can't go anywhere on the apex of the corner. And here we go. There's the third nose cone entering the chat. Nagisa's here, and it's his time to play.
18 minutes, 30 seconds remaining here for the TNT Shock Series at the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. Last time by, Nagisa Yoshikawa. How about this lap? 1:22.14. Yoshikawa almost down into the 1:21s, which is absolutely insane. Oh, there was almost contact. Barry has to really slam on the brakes.
Oh, and he almost gets chopped by Nagisa there, too. These guys are going at it. Barry's really deep into turn 10. They're all going to line it up, and we'll see who gets the run out of 11. On to number 12, into the short chute in Speedway 1. We'll see what Nagisa's car can do in the traffic, in the draft. We'll see what kind of run he can get.
This is kind of an interesting line that Nagisa just took there. Really swung it out towards the outside retaining wall down the short chute.
Side by side for the race lead, and Nagisa's just going to back out of it. Wes is really deep into turn 1. Man, he kept it on the track. I thought he was going through. Side by side out of 3 they come now. Through the right-hander of turn 4, where Wes took the lead back after the pit stops. Andrew's going to cut back onto him. Side by side through turn 5. Nagisa backs out of it. There's a car on the outside. It's Alex Teeter. He's going to stay out of the way. Through 6 and into 7 they go. They remain in the same order. Wes Shire, Andrew Barry, Nagisa Yoshikawa.
This racing is going to be intense. And we still have one more set of pit stops left to go. You almost wonder if you're Nagisa, you have the pace. Do you think about trying the undercut? Do you want to do something different than these guys? Because it's pretty clear at this point, Andrew can't get past Wes. It's going to take something heroic / dumb to get that pass accomplished.
Oh, and I think we're going to get it. Here he goes. Through the middle to Yoshikawa. He's going to run it up through the middle, and he's going to take the lead into turn number 1.
Wow.
Damn you with your strategies. I'm just going to do it myself, he says. Into the lead goes the number 98 for Team Watson Racing. Wes and Andrew Barry have been left in the dust. He's already pulling out a gap.
How about 0.6 of a second in 3 or 4 corners here? And you wonder, have Wes and Andrew really beaten up their tires a ton trying to battle like this? And at what point do you have to start the strategy thought process if you're Wes and Andrew now?
I think Andrew has to do something here. If he doesn't get past in the next lap or two, I think my call would be go down pit road and fuel up to the end of the race and just run some hot laps by yourself. Stephen Thompson, 24 seconds, as near as makes no difference, behind the leaders. So nobody behind is going to be causing any issues, and the traffic has shown they will get out of the way when you catch them. But it looks like it doesn't matter. Andrew Barry's got around.
Yep, Barry, I stuffed it deep into the second of the mouse ears, so to speak. With a fantastic pass on Wes Shire. The problem now is the lead's at 1.4 seconds, 1.5 seconds now.
Yeah, I was looking back in the pack. I wasn't even paying attention up to the battle up front. Oh, Wes gets wiggly under braking there, trying to really go deep. Now we'll see what Andrew can do in the lead of these two. Nagisa's trying to pull away. He's almost at that point where he will be out of the range, and it looks like he is. About 1.7 ahead. He should be clear of the draft, but we'll see what Wes can do. If Wes can hang with Andrew, if not, that might have been game over, and that could be championship over.
Yeah, we don't have much left here in the TNT shock season. In fact, only one race to go following this one. That one coming up at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Big moment there for Andrew Barry. That's going to open the gap up back to about 1.6 seconds. Last lap for Nagisa Yoshikawa, 122.78. Andrew Barry and Wes Shire both in the 124s. Absolutely insane, the pace that Nagisa Yoshikawa is setting right now.
Again, now this becomes who's going to blink first. Which one of these three is going to bring it into pit road and play their hand? Nagisa is going to get past the lap traffic of Jason Paydu in the 14. Andrew's going to get held up a little bit, though. He's going to dive it down to the inside through turn 7 and get through there, but lost a little bit of time. He's going to bring Wes back into this a little bit, but we'll see what they can do in the second half of the lap here. Andrew looks like he is quicker, though. It looks like he is going to be able to pull away and keep Wes behind and out of that slipstream range.
It's very close right now, sitting at about 1.25 seconds. The number we've been talking about is 1.3 to 1.4. Wes is right on the edge of that number right now. So when do we see the first of the final pit stops of the night?
And Simon Fell rejoining there does a really good job of staying out of the way for Wes coming into turn 1. That could have been scary if he just went through that corner, as they do come through some more lap traffic. That's going to be Rick Cleary on the outside and out of the way. Wes is right there, though, 1.2, 1.3 behind. He's staying just within range here, but looks like Barry's got the legs on him and is able to hold out his own in the infield part of the race course. Nagisa out front, though, has pulled away, though. Over 2 seconds the advantage up front he has now.
Yeah, that gap is now up to 2 3/4 seconds. Interesting question from Jason Owens here. Did Nagisa short fill to run more laps with less fuel, and will he need to pit a few laps earlier? It's an interesting call, but one that I don't know that it matters at this point, because the lead's at, 2 3/4 seconds. You're talking a pretty big swing there on fuel.
Yeah, I don't think he did anything spectacular in the pit stop times. It was pretty spot on with what everybody else was doing. He was pushing flat out that whole first stint to make up as much time as he did. So I don't think he is any different on fuel than these guys. I could be wrong. He could be, a gallon or so short, a couple, 2 or 3 liters. But the gap at the front now, almost at 3 seconds, as they come through turn 6, it's too big to be made up in a short fuel run.
Let's take a look here at your race leader, Nagisa Yoshikawa. This guy qualified on the front row, forgot to swap out the qualifying setup for the race setup.
In air quotes, we'll say he forgot to swap out.
Yeah. Little bit of a cerebral flatulation.
Oh, West Shire just had a moment. Sorry, Chris. Just cut you off there on the exit of 11. West Shire just had a huge bobble on the exit, got on the grass. He probably lost 2, maybe 3 seconds worth of time there getting back onto the track. Huge moment for him and his race implications.
Yeah, there you see it. It was a moment. It wasn't a big one, but any bit off track is enough to really kind of screw your night up. Now, if I'm Wes, I've got to hit pit road.
The last lap time for Wes is a 1:27 dead, so 4 or 5 seconds off the pace there. That's not what you want to see when you're trying to keep up, but we'll see if he can keep it on the racetrack here, keep the result. He should be well clear of anybody behind him for position 3, but definitely didn't want to see that if he had any hopes of catching the guys in front.
And at this point, you have to wonder, are Wes's tires absolutely shot? And will he have to take them when he comes down pit lane? The question becomes for Nagisa and Andrew Berry, do you take tires when you come in to make your final pit stop?
Depends on. I don't think they're going to be taking enough fuel to justify the tires. These Cooper tires that the Indy Pro 2000s run are very durable, surprising. Even on this very difficult circuit, the tire wear is not that great, just because the grip on the track is a little bit higher than some others that you go to. So don't think they'll be changing for tires. Should be just a 2, maybe 3 second stop for fuel, and away they go, which we should be seeing any lap now. This lap or the lap after that should be the one where we start to see these guys come down for their final stops.
Yeah, they're currently working their 31st lap. Pit stops came for the leaders at lap 16 or lap 15. So we're kind of right in that window of 30 to 32 laps when we should see the final stops of the night. My back of the napkin spitball math said 6 minutes. Seeing Nick Camargo in for his final stop, Vic Aldrich has also made his. Nagisa Yoshikawa is actually showing 2 pit stops have been made because he had to take the first stop to put fuel in the car.
I think it was because of his pit lane start. That would probably count on your ticker there.
Okay.
Starting from the pits, he'll probably end up adding an extra stop onto that. He's only been down pit roast and racing speed once. Ooh, good job by the lap cars to stay out of the way there. Right off of the line. Really good work there. Give a shout out. I think that was Peter Don. Was that Peter Donchak or who was that? No, it was Andrew Akara in the number 5. Really good job to stay out of the way. As West Shire from P3 going to be coming down pit road this time. And we'll get an indication here of what the leader's pit stop should look like. Better on the entry this time, having that practice from the first run. So
Interesting.
We'll see how long it takes.
West taking tires there. That was a full service stop for West Shire, 7.1 seconds. Stephen Thompson on pit lane as well. So he's going to give up that time back to West Shire. In fact, Peter Donchak able to come past while Thompson is on pit lane. Donchak will have one more stop to make here. And look, here he comes, race leader Nagisa Yoshikawa making his way down the access road.
Andrew Barry's coming with him here, so this is where the time's going to be made.
I tell you what, Barry made up a ton of time on the entrance to pit lane.
Down at pit road speed, the gap showing 3.1 seconds at the line. So we'll see what these guys do as they come around. No challenge from behind, no tires for Nagisa Yoshikawa. He's gone and away. Same for Andrew Barry. Both of them out and away. Only 4.2, 4.5 seconds for both of those drivers. So only fuel till the end of the race. 4 minutes, 20 seconds to go here. Should be about 3 laps, 3 in a white flag, maybe, possibly, depending on when they catch it. So we'll be close.
A very short little splash and dash for some VP Racing fuel, and Yoshikawa and Barry back on their way. The gap now sitting at 2.4 seconds. Drive of the Year candidate out of Nagisa Yoshikawa tonight. Pulling up this battle here between Simon Fell and Jason Padu. This is the battle for the 9th position, and really it's the only other fight on the racetrack.
Yeah, so there you go. On the outlap times, Barry going to be running a 43.1. Nagisa with a 43.7. So the math adds up there, about a 0.6 of a second gain for Andrew Barry through the pit stop cycle, but he is still too far out of range to get any slipstream advantage. So Nagisa's got a few more laps here just to keep it clean and on the black stuff, and he'll be looking at the drive of the year and a great race win here coming from the pit lane start.
Still so many opportunities to make the small mistake. And quite frankly here, pulling up our results from last time out at Martinsville Speedway, Nagisa Yoshikawa didn't even run that race. What pushed him back 2 positions in the point standings. Nagisa now currently in a tied for 8th with J.W. Miller. Going to gain a bunch here on JW, who's not in the race tonight. Also Vic Aldrich and Stephen Thompson. Simon Fell and as well Jason Owens. He's got a lot of work to go, but a top 5 finish in points could be something on the cards. Looks like we will be down to 2 laps to go as we have 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining from here. Lap time still in the 1 minute 22 range. Yoshikawa 1 minute 22.53 last time by. Barry with a 68, Shire with a 64. West is making up a little bit of ground, but not much here on Andrew Barry, and that gap between 2nd and 3rd still sitting over 10 seconds.
Yeah, too little, too late for West. Dropped too far back and had that mistake. I believe he lost maybe another 2 or 3 seconds on the outlap because he did take those tires on the pit stop, so his pit stop itself was that extra 2 or 3 seconds long. So he was content to finish in P3, it seems like, and he's running some good laps on those new tires, but not going to be challenging the guys up front.
Yeah, it was basically a 3-second difference in the time of the stop for Shire versus Yoshikawa and Berry. Down to 27 seconds remaining. This will be the white flag lap here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Nagisa Yoshikawa going worst to first. A mega drive in stint number 1. Stint 2, equally as impressive. The short third stint here, last pit stop coming just 3 laps ago. Going to call this one a monster drive from Nagisa Yoshikawa tonight. Ooh, he got it out by the DRS board. We'll see if he gets the slowdown penalty here. A lot of ways to make that up without actually feeling like you're losing time, though.
Oh yeah, you especially in this really Mickey Mouse sector 3 here, you can really just back off on the entry and almost trick iRacing into giving that slowdown some time taken away there. As he comes out of the short onto the short chute through speedway number 1, that 3 wide move through the middle to take the lead into turn number 1 is going to be the move that does it. Nagisa Yoshikawa takes the win at the IMS road course.
Andrew Berry comes across the line in the 2nd position. West Shire going to come home 3rd here this evening. Pretty impressive. Looking like we're going to have 8 cars that finish on the lead lap tonight. Man alive, no shortage of things to talk about here with Nagisa Yoshikawa, as he is going to get himself cleared off the racetrack and just waiting for the last couple of cars to make their way around and complete their race, and they have, so we can show you tonight's final results from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Nagisa Yoshikawa, the winner by 3.3 seconds over Andrew Berry. West Shire, Stephen Thompson, and Vic Aldrich will complete the top 5. Peter Donchak, Nick Camargo, Jason Paydu. The final cars on the lead lap. Paydu finishing in the 8th position. Simon Fell 1 lap down in 9th. Dave Sparks 2 laps down in the 10th position. The rest of these drivers had a variety of adventures, fun, and frivolity over the course of the evening. Rick Cleary, Patrick Byrne, Andrew Acera, Alex Teeter, and James Watson will round out your field here this evening. Big time disappointment there for James Watson.
Yeah, this race will, if we do the drop weeks here, this will definitely be it for him, as I believe he showed up to every other week and gotten some sort of result. I could be wrong there. He might have missed 1 week on one of the ovals, but yeah, we'll see. That definitely takes James out of the points picture, but Andrew Berry finishing in 2nd place ahead of West Shire can only strengthen his championship hold that he had coming into the night, and will make it super difficult for West to claw that advantage back at Worldwide Technology Center in a couple weeks' time.
Let's bring in our race winner here tonight, Mr. Nagisa Yoshikawa. Good Lord, brother. Between the absolutely monster run in the first stint to get yourself back into contention, to going 3 wide into turn 1, you had about as dull of a night as probably anybody out here, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, it was a really fun race. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of this track, but I really enjoyed it. I didn't I had my quali set when I gridded, and then it started the race, so I had to start from the pits. But it honestly made it a lot more fun, I think. But I didn't mean to, so.
It made it a unique challenge, and quite frankly, probably changes how the race would have played out entirely if you had been up near the front of the field. Talk us through that mental process of getting yourself centered back in, knowing the work that you have to do to make the time up, and then setting. I mean, there were some absolute heaters. A 1:22.14 for fastest lap of the race beats everything we've seen in practice and qualifying here tonight.
Yeah, it was just I knew I had good pace over the majority of people, but I was still a little worried. I wasn't sure if I could gain that amount of time back. And then I also, when I was coming out of the pits, there's like a weird phantom slowdown you can get, which I got, so I ended up having to give up like 3 seconds right at the start. So I was kind of up against it from there, but I knew I had really good pace. And once I saw that I was catching in clean air, I was catching Wes and Andrew, and I kind of knew I had it because it's a very long race. So, but yeah, I was just doing lap after lap, and really like once I kind of got up into fourth, I had the like marker of where they were, and I could just kind of like put myself up against them every lap and see.
Talk us through the move into turn 1. It was gutsy, ballsy, and absolutely insane all at the same time. The reality to me looks like you actually had probably the preferred line into the corner with how wide Andrew was and how tight Wes was to the inside. So may not have been as difficult as it looked.
Well, I just saw every lap catching them from pretty far back. I was braking a lot later, so I figured I could probably do it. But yeah, like you said, I knew Andrew couldn't really turn in because of where I was, and then Wes had too tight of a line. So I just kind of hit my normal late braking point, and got it done. But yeah, it was a fun move. I bet it looked great on the broadcast.
Yeah, it looked absolutely spectacular on the broadcast. And thank you much for putting on a show tonight, brother. Jason Owens in the comments saying, may have been the pass and a drive of the year all in one. I tend to agree. That was absolutely incredible tonight. And Nagisa, before we let you go here, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Team Watson Racing setups. Car was super great tonight. And everyone as well on the track and just in the whole setting up the league and everything did really well. Everyone kept it pretty clean, and lap traffic as well kept it out of the way. So just a good job by everyone tonight.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And let's bring in our runner-up here tonight, Mr. Andrew Berry. And man, I'll tell you what, you looked like you were getting frustrated behind Wes. I'm assuming you figured you had a little bit more in terms of raw pace than he did. And then all of a sudden you're fighting with a guy who was half a lap down at the start of the race. Talk us through what this night was like for you.
Honestly, I expected him to be half a lap up at the end, so that's not really that surprising. I think I was just kind of chilling behind him that first stint. And in hindsight, I probably should have been more aggressive, because if I hadn't, I might have had a shot at winning. But it was just 50 minutes of me wanting to blow my brains out at this godforsaken track. So I'm just glad it's over.
So you are of the camp. Nagisa talked about how much he likes the place. You are of the camp that really doesn't like it. Is it the nature of the corners, the lack of, well, any sort of marker to time braking? What is it about this place that's just so polarizing? People either love it or absolutely despise it.
It's completely flat. There's literally zero visual markers. You got like half of one in turn 1, I guess, but it's just completely flat. There's no flow to the track. It's just the one long straight you get, you're topped out by the time you get to the start finish line, and you don't have a shot of passing anyone, because by the time you get to start finish line, you're both topped out. Yeah, it's not a fun time. It's one of my least favorite tracks in the sim.
Well, we get to go to a completely different animal next week when we head off to Gateway, and you will try to take West Shire's championship away from him. He is back-to-back defending champion. What are your thoughts here as we head to Gateway? And obviously, you gained a little bit more ground again tonight. Kind of keep it clean next week and take a championship?
Basically, yeah. I really this week, knowing how much I despise this track, I was just shooting to finish ahead of Wes, which I did, and if I was lucky, finish on the podium, which again I did. So definitely can't complain too much. But yeah, looking forward to next week for sure.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations once again on picking up the runner-up finish here tonight, and make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in before we let you go.
Yep. Just thanks to everyone for hosting. Maybe everywhere but this track. And look forward to running next week.
All right, bud. Thank you much. We appreciate it here. Let's bring in our third place finisher tonight, guy who led the most laps or very close to leading the most laps tonight, ultimately coming home with a third place finish. I tell you what, Wes, it was a hell of a battle you guys put on with Andrew. Talk us through the night. Was it just a little bit difference in outright pace, or kind of what was the kind of the difference, I guess we would say, between what Andrew and Nagisa were able to do and the car you had tonight?
Nagisa was certainly faster, just outright. I think on equal tires, I was about as quick as Andrew, at least quick enough to keep him behind me. Problem is I didn't take tires on that first stop, and he did, and yeah, fall off was nasty. Yeah, I just had to try everything I could to stay ahead, keep it on track, and yeah, oh man, that was rough.
Seemed like it was the kind of night that, at least initially, was sort of shaping up to where you might be able to make a run at Andrew for the championship. What do you think now as we head to Gateway next week and we start, obviously we're going to start factoring in drop weeks and that kind of stuff, but are you hoping that there's a prayer there, or what's the thought process here as we get ready to go for the season finale next week?
It's Gateway. Anyone can win, and anybody can get wrecked out quite significantly. So I gotta hope that the other cars play in my favor for that one.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations
yeah,
once again on. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh man, I'm exhausted. Just that took a lot out of me.
I feel you on that one. Yeah, I tell you what, great runner-up finish, one way or the other, no matter how the championship shakes out. But put on a hell of a show for us all season long, and we're looking forward to wrapping it up next week at Gateway. Before we let you go, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, as always, gotta thank you guys for putting this broadcast on. Gotta not thank Jason this week because yeah, just why? That not a fun track. But anyway, of course, big thanks to Homestead Coffee keeping me awake and alert enough to keep it on the track for most of that race. I think I needed another cup before that. Shout out to my other life as a D&D streamer over on Twitch and YouTube. Check out Tales from Rukon Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I've been doing a little non-D&D stuff lately. Just kind of our schedules haven't been working out quite right, but we'll be back to the normal campaign soon. And another thank you to the Ardbeg I'm going to go consume after this because I need it after that race.
That's awesome. All right, Wes, thank you very much. At least, you know what? At least he's pulling out the nice bottle of scotch tonight. But with that, it is about time for us to get on out of here. I tell you what, Kylo, these guys were, quite frankly, the majority sounded to be not all that thrilled with the venue. However, we did see a great race, two leaders battling tooth and nail throughout this thing, and an absolutely insane pass into turn one to take the lead. Wasn't a total dud from the broadcast perspective.
The only guys that like the track are the ones that wins at them normally. And I don't blame Nagisa for that at all. I'm 50-50 on this one. It's a cool track and concept, but in this car, not the best, especially with that front straightaway. But yeah, definitely these guys put on a show for us. Wes and Andrew in the first half of the race, and then the comeback and execution of that comeback from Nagisa. Really a good one for us to watch, and I think I'm happier about it than most of the drivers are out there. Probably except Nagisa, he's probably pretty happy about that one.
Yeah, this one was a fun one, and coming up next week, it will be the season finale from the artist formerly known as Gateway, Worldwide Technology Raceway, where all the big hardware and stuff is going to get handed out, and we're looking forward to that one. We have a very quiet week here on the National Racing Network this week. Nothing coming up tomorrow night. The Sim Racers Club is off. We will be back on Thursday night with the Ezra IndyCar Series and the season finale for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship coming up from Watkins Glen. That is a place that is absolutely perfect for the PM18s, although it's just about perfect for every car on the iRacing platform. We're looking forward to that one in a big way. We'll also have Bert Wojcik and Adam Rubright back with you for the High Side Hustle. This one should be a pretty good show as well as we get ready to kick off another big week of racing here on the dirt. We'll be talking wing sprint cars, wingless sprint cars getting ready to come in here for the Eastern Storm, and late models, and the Mud Turtles, the big block modifieds out of the Northeast. You don't want to miss any of that one coming up at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. But with that, we are getting the heck out of here. For Mr. Kylo Ciacelli, my name is Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you hanging out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.